Anna Ruck is in her overdue 20s and has a excessive tension ailment that affects her existence and lots of methods. The handiest man or woman she is predicated on is her elder brother Conrad, whose demise of pancreatic cancer. They don't have any own circle of relatives except every other. That's why Conrad is constantly involved approximately his sister. Moreover, the siblings conceal deep secrets and techniques in unique corners of the residence, and are constantly cautious of who they'll allow interior. One night we see Anna gambling with an vintage key by myself in her room. All at once she hears a odd noise coming from the dark. However, it seems to be Conrad sitting outdoor. He calls her to enroll in him. However, Anna rudely declines. The reality is that she hasn't left the residence in over 10 years due to her tension ailment. The following morning they are joined via way of means of Conrad's attorney Charlotte. She has been referred to us to speak about Conrad's will, and what Anna gets after his dying isn't always prepared to have that communique. But then we are added to Dan, a transport man who brings meals for the own circle of relatives each morning. Apart from Conrad, Dan is the handiest man or woman. Anna enjoys speaking to his type and has gained her coronary heart over the route of time he has been running for them. As they chat they pay attention. A noisy thud from Comrade's room. Anna rushes to her brother and places him lower back at the mattress. They spend the complete day collectively speaking approximately various things. Conrad brings up the subject and their father and asks Anna to forgive him. However, it handiest makes her irritated. Some hours later Anna is woken up via way of means of her car alarm ringing. She runs to Conrad's room and reveals him lifeless, in spite of understanding that this became certain to appear not anything with inside the International ought to have organized Anna for her brother's dying. After the paramedics take his frame away, she cleans up the complete residence and receives rid of all of his medicinal drug whilst Anna is at her lowest. Then involves her useful resource and lends her a shoulder to cry on. He shows she promote the residence and pass someplace else. However, Anna is simply too linked to the residence to depart it. As they chat, Dan exhibits that he desires to get out of this town. However, is not financially capable of achieve this. Anna unexpectedly leaves and returns a couple of minutes later with a bag complete of cash. She desires him to take it and make a higher existence for himself. Dan, however, refuses to just accept it, despite the fact that Anna insists that she has extra money than she wishes. Tomorrow is the day of the funeral. Anna receives prepared to depart. However, her tension receives the nice of her on the closing second. She desperately desires to mention a very last correct bye to her brother, however finally ends up staying domestic, drowning in her mind. All at once a vehicle stops outdoor and three guys technique her residence. They glance through the window to make sure no person is domestic, trying to rob the area. Anna panics. However, earlier than she thinks of calling a person, one of the men named JP breaks the lower back door and left what is the opposite, and JP appears to be the leader whilst his brother Vance and buddy Perry are his accomplices. The robbers are below the effect that Anna is on the funeral. However, the livestock makes a noise and makes her presence evident. She quick runs upstairs whilst the men begin seeking out her everywhere in the residence. Perry reveals her hiding with inside the bathroom, making her run downstairs earlier than he catches as much as her. Anna receives to the front door. She will be able to without difficulty run outdoor and store her existence. However, she freezes due to her tension. JP cautiously closes the door and asks her why she did not escape. She additionally had a danger to name the police whilst she became hiding upstairs. However, she did not. The reality is it is due to the fact she's dumb. The men assume it smiles odd. However, all they care approximately is the cash. She is hiding someplace with inside the residence. JP and his brother Vance hold seeking out the cash whilst Perry maintains a watch on Anna. She tells him approximately her tension and the way she hasn't stepped out of the residence for over a decade. Perry is interested via way of means of he desires to test if she is telling the reality for his very own leisure. He forcefully pulls her outdoor, inflicting her to by skip out whilst JP selections her as much as assist her. Anna wets herself. Vance is requested to take her to her room and get her wiped clean as the opposite look for the bag of cash. They in the end discover a basement with doorways without handles. The doorways truly lead someplace, however are not possible to open. It smiles clean that both Conrad or Anna desired to preserve those rooms as secret. Meanwhile, Vance is attempting to get Anna to change. He's the weakest hyperlink many of the three and isn't always inclined to harm a person for cash. Anna additionally notices this and attempts To persuade him to assist her, she manages to persuade him to a few extent. However, he sooner or later realizes what she is doing and in shape of rage he forcefully attempts to make her change. However, is stopped whilst the transport man Dan arrives. He became at Conrad's funeral and has come to test up on Anna due to the fact she wasn't there. Anna is grateful that she eventually has a person to assist her until Dan calls Vance by way of means of his name, revealing that they're buddies. She realizes that Dan is likewise with the robbers and loses her thoughts. She runs downstairs and hides someplace far from the robbers. JP and Perry get to Dan and knock him out, revealing that he's in reality now no longer part of their organization. After a couple of minutes of trying to find Dan, Perry loses persistence and attempts to kill Anna's puppy fowl. If she would not display herself, Anna stays hidden, inflicting Perry to hammer the negative fowl to dying via way of means of now Dan has woken up. However, JP ties his fingers and pushes him onto the sofa whilst the robbers are busy with him. Anna runs to the toilet, however makes noise whilst doing so. Vance is set to capture her whilst Anna stabs his neck, killing him instant. The opposite on nevertheless with Dan. However, the odd silence makes them consider something is incorrect. They ask Vance to mention something handy is to pay attention. The sound of Anna dragging his frame to the basement. Quickly they find the bloodstains at the ground and comply with them to discover Vance is lifeless. Frame JP holds his brother and cries, promising to avenge his dying. However, no person cares. The venture will become a whole lot greater than only a theft for the surviving duo. Simply then, Perry notices Anna at the back of a door. However, she locks it earlier than he receives in. After that, she runs right into a room and brings out the important thing she became gambling with at the start of the movie. The keys then used to open a console that includes a lever. Upon pulling it, the steps to the basement retract, trapping Perry and JP. Interior Anna assessments on them to make certain that they cannot get outdoor. A while passes and the robbers attempted to interrupt the doorways with inside the basement to get out. However, it's been made to face up to any pressure outdoor. Dan exhibits that he's buddies with Vance and had advised him approximately the cash the day gone by. He feels lousy for doing so due to the fact he did not understand it might lead robbers into her residence. Anna nevertheless refuses to untie his fingers and asks him approximately Conrad's funeral. He tells her the way it went and inquires approximately what Conrad might have finished in a state of affairs like. This Anna thinks approximately it for some time earlier than breaking his finger and bringing him to the basement door due to the fact that the steps are missing his status at the brink of the wall. Anna asks him to show his innocence by way of means of leaping into the basement, and whilst he refuses, she pushes him herself, rattling Anna is hard and cries in pain, conserving his dislocated knee. Anna then enters a hidden cupboard that suggests her stay photos of the basement. Some time later she comes to test up on them, and JP tortures Dan in hopes that she can be able to experience sympathetic. Anna tells them to apply the primary useful resource package. This is interior one of the locked rooms without a door handles. This time JP can open one of the doorways due to the fact Anna has modified the settings from upstairs. However, as quickly as he enters the room, she presses a button and he's locked. Interior JP reveals it extraordinarily odd due to the fact the room seems same to the only heat visible upstairs with inside. The meantime, Perry attempts to interrupt the second one door and is a success. After many tries, he reveals a freezer and opens it to peer lifeless bodies. Interior taken aback to the core, Perry runs outdoor and is derived head to head with Anna. Now that he has visible matters he should not have, she cannot allow him stay. She hits him with a hammer to his head. The person is set to strangle her to dying earlier than he loses an excessive amount of blood and dies outdoor. Dan manages to transport into the second one room and capture the lifeless bodies. Understanding that something could be very incorrect on the equal time, Charlotte comes to test up on Anna due to the fact she hasn't been choosing up her calls. Anna pretends like the whole lot is quality and makes up an excuse for the noise coming from the basement. Charlotte would not assume a whole lot of it and leaves after ensuring Anna is okay. After her departure, Anna is going to the basement and reveals Dan by way of means of the freezer. She places him interior a cabinet which leads him into the room wherein JP is locked. The room has a one-mana replicate that she makes use of to preserve a watch on them. JP figures this out and attempts to interrupt it. However, Anna informs him that the glass is bulletproof. She then makes him put on a blouse out of a cabinet it seems, that Conrad and Anna used to drug guys and lock them interior this room. Then Conrad joined the sufferers via the cabinet, and tortured them while Anna watched via the replicate JP desires. To understand the purpose they replicated the room, and whose blouse he's carrying it smiles then found out that Anna's father used to attack her, even if she became a child then one day Conrad strangled their father to dying, and had become her hero ever due to the fact that then they had been luring registered sexual predators into the residence, and killing them. Anna believes that they did the proper components due to the fact offenders deserved the punishment. However, in line with JP, each she and her brother are psychopaths. They were given excessive from killing their father and desired to relive the instant once more and once more. Anna loses her thoughts on the accusations, and gives Dan with a gun to kill JP. She desires him to pay for his deeds, and thinks she is supporting him via way of means of doing so. JP pushes Dan apart, and receives a keep of the gun he receives prepared to kill Dan. However, Anna stops him, urging him to dedicate the unthinkable. She blames him for his brother's dying, and proclaims that dying is the handiest manner for his salvation. Initially JP appears to be giving in to her demands. However, he comes lower back to his senses and factors the gun at Dan once more seconds earlier than he shot. Anna opens the door, and permits them to out. JP facilitates Dan get interior of the residence. However, he is not prepared to run away, but he seems advances lifeless frame full of rage and a will to take revenge. Dan attempts to persuade him to allow it cross. However, all he receives for it smiles a punch with inside the face. JP is going lower back in, and begins a fevold pouring fuel across the residence. Anna brings him the bag complete of cash, hoping to ship him away with it. However, he refuses to take it. Anne assaults her in a resulting battle and it manages to run upstairs. However, JP catches her and claims that he has an concept. He desires her to relive the terrible recollections she shared together along with her father via way of means of assaulting her. The reality that he's carrying her father's blouse makes it even worse for Anna. Simply then Dan comes into the room and Anna takes benefit of the distraction to shoot JP. Lifeless silence prevails as each Dan and Anna study the lifeless frame, understanding that there may be no person likable on this movie. They cross downstairs and Anne leaves without pronouncing a phrase. Anna remains with inside the residing room for approximately an hour earlier than she eventually comes to a decision to step out of the residence. At closing, she has left her worry of detachment at the back of, and may exist outdoor of the residence without hyperventilating. Oh, goody, now she may be a serial killer for actual. With inside the very last scene, she lighting fixtures a residence on Hearth Place and walks away. Subscribe for greater films like this. Switch on notifications and depart a want to assist the channel out. Thanks for watching.